What's up, everybody? King of Fomo here, coming at you with your daily crypto update. Make sure you follow me over there on Telegram. That's t.me/kingoffomo1, as well as my TikTok channel listed right there on the screen. So I know in my last video I said I am staying away from a lot of altcoins, but I do want to kind of make some content about altcoins in some form or fashion. Now, shoutouts to the last guy that was in my video. He said something in the chat about a new coin that released recently, and I just jumped into it. I thought it was pretty cool, so we'll get into what that coin is later on in the video. It could be profitable for the next couple days. It's been pretty good over the past couple weeks. We'll look at the charts and things like that. And I guess this mini series of what we're going to talk about is the latest and greatest coins on Vfat. So this is, if you're interested on the Polygon blockchain and some of the projects that are launching on there, I'm going to cover, hopefully, the rest of what's posted on Vfat over the next couple of weeks. So this is going to be my June 19th update on stuff that has been posted on Vfat. So we're not going to cover everything on here because there's way too much to cover in one video, but we'll start with PolySA and work our way all the way down to the bottom. So again, first coin on Vfat is PolySA. So this is what I'm going to refer to as a dev honeypot yield farm. A lot of these things are going to be pretty much the same thing. Now, what I mean by that, I've mentioned that on this channel a couple times before, but what a dev honeypot yield farm is essentially a copied and pasted yield farm, really no different than any other yield farm that has been posted. And I believe that one of the main reasons why people keep making these things is because they do have a dev fee. So if we take a look at the farms here, or if we take a look at right here, the bar of what they call it, they have a 4% developer deposit fee. So what the developer is supposed to do is to buy more of the coins with that 4% fee, but that's kind of a trust thing, so they can just keep the money from all of these farms, the 4% from all these farms. They can allocate 1% to themselves. So it's essentially like if $1 million on average goes into all of these dev honeypot farms, they essentially just make a free $10,000 to $40,000 every time they do this. So it's I'm going to call these things dev honeypot yield farms, and really essentially you can't really make that much money at all with these things unless you are there from its conception when it first starts. If you're late at any other point, you might be able to recoup your what you put in initially if the dev does what they're supposed to with the fee, but there's a kind of a lower chance, especially if you're buying the pair itself. So that is PolySA, not something I think it's worth diving into anymore. Next one is Stunky. So Stunky.farm. This is another thing listed on Yfat. And this is, again, I believe there's nothing new in this yield farm as well. I've looked through it. They have some promises of some new stuff, but nothing that stands out. And again, with a lot of these dev honeypot yield farms, you'll notice that the price of the coin is essentially nothing. And that's generally what happens to these farms after a day or a week or so, is the coin becomes pretty much worthless. So this one is at 48 cents. I don't believe that this is going to be rising anytime soon. We can take a look here. There's $300,000 in here TVL. If you're looking at this farm a little bit later, chances are pretty high that the TVL is going to be a lot lower, unless crypto moons or something. So that is Stonky Farm. Really nothing to take a look at there. So now as you understand dev honeypots, I'm going to kind of go through the dev honeypots pretty quickly. Polycafe, same thing, dev honeypot, nothing new here, same deal. Low TVL, low price, probably will be lower if you're looking at it again on your own. Slowpoke.space, again, another dev honeypot, nothing new here at all. Priced at 41 cents, total value lock $3,000, probably will be lower or non-existent when you look at it at a later date. PolyRocket, looks like it's got pretty much the same thing here. They do have an IFO that they're supposed to be doing a little bit later. So that means that I think their TVL might be a little bit higher. Let's see if we can connect here and see if we can see the information. But nonetheless, I do think that there's not enough offered here to really give it that much value in the long run. So currently it's valued at 12 cents. It has almost $1 million of total value locked, but I do think that that's going to continue to decline because it really doesn't stand out compared to any other farms. So that's just my opinion on rocket farming. Next one is Polygon. Again, you're going to notice a trend here. Most of these farms, this is why I haven't really talked about them. This is another dev honeypot, currently valued at about 4 microcents, less than a penny. I'm pretty sure the TVL in here is probably also non-existent as well and will continue to be nothing. Yeah, $594. This might have been a rug pool. I'm not sure. Not something that I would buy into because it doesn't offer anything new. Now we're going to get into an interesting one. So Kogefarm. Kogefarm is actually offering something a little bit different. Basically what it's doing is it's taking your liquidity pools from other protocols and other projects, Wex Poly, Fishmatic, Booty USD, Gaj USDC, and it's auto compounding them for you. So this is actually offering something different than your other dev honeypot farms that we covered earlier in the video. Now the downside to this is a lot of their pairs are not... I don't think they're going to be going up anytime soon. So due to the fact that they have a lot of dead pairs, including Iron and Titan, I don't know unless Koge's got to save itself somehow by offering some pools that are actually profitable. And there's not that many in Polygon, so that's kind of the biggest negative with Kogefarm. Other than that, it does offer new stuff with auto compounding. I think that's pretty cool, but can you actually make money with this? I don't really know, because I think that the value of these coins are going to decrease faster than the APY that you're going to be getting from most of them as well. So that's just my 2 cents on Kogefarm. We'll see. Hopefully this thing does do well, but because it is different. But those are my thoughts on that. It even has it compares itself to a lot of other farms like Polycat, Auto Farm, Beefy, and it's got the best rates. But again, since they don't offer a lot of good stuff, I don't know if that'll matter. Next up is Fulcrum Trade. Now I can't really talk too much about Fulcrum Trade, but that is on Vfat because I am not in Fulcrum Trade. I looked at it a little bit. They have some low yields, but I do think it might stick around for a while just because it's connected to a couple of other big projects. So check out Fulcrum if you're looking for long-term investments that you're not going to look at too much, but I'm not going to really cover that too much. Xbull is a little bit different than a lot of the other farms. Currently valued at $84. I do think that this value is going to continue to decrease. $111,000 total value locked. It's connected to a couple of other bull coins. This is the newest one, I believe. So I think this is they're kind of just riding new waves until all of the coins become worthless. I'm sure that'll happen, but they don't really offer anything new. That's again the problem. Even if you launch new coins to go along with your old coins, if you don't offer anything new, they're all gonna follow the same path to death. So that's Xbull Finance. And again, just because I'm saying they don't offer anything new doesn't mean you can't make any money with them, but it means that I think that pretty soon, eventually, that they will become worthless. So do proceed with extreme caution. I'm not going to talk too much about Augury. This one looks like an interesting project, but I haven't really done any research on it. It's a little different than a lot of the other projects, which is why it has $57 million locked inside of it. I'm pretty sure the staking is a lot lower in here too, or the APR is lower. Well, no, the APR is actually pretty high, 490%. They do have fees, a 4% deposit fee, so Augury might be one to actually take a look at. They got a lot of good pairs here. No, their TVL, again, all these TVLs, I do believe they're all going to go down. We haven't really seen anything since Pancake Finance stick around for the long term. But this is one that you might be able to make a profit within a short period of time. You know, you do have a 4% deposit fee, but that's going to be recouped within like a week. And as long as this thing sticks around and doesn't go too low, you might be able to generate profit after that week of recouping your 4% deposit fee from a lot of these different types of coins. So you can look at Augury on your own. Now, again, be warned, I haven't audited any of these things. Iron Finance did just collapse and go to zero. All these coins can do the same thing, so that's a risk that you have to be aware of as well. PolyMeme, again, I'm not going to really look into this or talk about it too much. This is obviously just a joke coin. Joke coins eventually become worthless as well, with the exception of like Dogecoin. But they're starting farming on the 20th of June, so if you're one of those early farmers, this is one that you might be able to do an early farm with. This is another version 2, so obviously version 1 became worthless, and version 2 probably will become worthless too eventually, but maybe you want to turn a quick profit on it. If you do, check out their website, polymeme.me, do your own research on that one. Now, the one that the guy talked about in my last video, this is called PolyYeld Finance. So PolyYeld is a farm still, and it's a little bit different because they offer a lot of different pairs. It's gotten a lot of traction so far, and their pairs do have deposit fees. And again, developers can be shady with their deposit fees, but they are necessary, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Let's see here. They have about $22 million in total value locked, so that's double the amount of the augury staking right here. And the chart for PolyYeld has also been going up a lot over the past couple of days. You can see that they kind of had a big dump, and then they've recovered ever since June 13th. So it's been about 10 days, and they're having a sort of an uptrend. Now they might pull back because they've been going up for like 4 days now, but nonetheless, it's doing pretty good compared to every other farm out there. Now, how long will that continue to be? I don't know, but as of right now, PolyYeld is doing not too shabby. Again, their farms have that 4% deposit fee, and be extra careful if you're ever using the native pair. In this case, it's the YELD token. It can go to 0, and it can just go down really fast because it's being farmed. It's being printed from every single other farm on here. So that's the case with these yield farming tokens, is that the rate at which they're printed hopefully doesn't exceed the rate that in which they're sold, or not exceed the rate in which they're sold. And that's what happens to most of these things, which is why the price of the native pair always goes down a lot more. And even though you have high APR, you end up losing out. If it goes down 11% per day, but you're making 7% per day, you're in a net loss, which is, again, generally the thing that happens with most of these farms. But if you have a chart like this, where the price has been going up over the past 4 days, then you're very happy, especially if you invested into PolyYeld back here, because you've been making a lot, essentially. They do offer something new over here, so they have their auto YELD. This isn't that crazy, but basically it automatically restakes your YELD tokens, so that is a option here. They have referral codes as well, so you can earn if you're marketing this thing. So a lot of stuff to kind of help it along the way, but at the end of the day, like I said, unless they continue to like innovate, it's still not, in my opinion, innovative enough to just survive forever. I do think that there's going to be a point where it just dumps, and it's going to pass the tipping point of no longer being around and no longer being profitable to farm at all. When will that be? I don't know, but like I said, you guys can follow up, especially follow up on their community. If the community is doing stuff and their team is doing stuff to make it stand out, it's got a little bit more life in it. If not, if they're going to keep this, I don't think that this is going to be sustainable in the long term. But so that's PolyYeld. And then finally, kind of honorable mention, this is one that I tried out. I told you guys that I've been trying out a couple of different things on Polygon, and they have all been kind of losses for me. Iron Finance being one of them. This is another one. This is Walt Finance. So Walt's took a pretty big dump, and I think that Walt's going to continue to take dumps, because even though they have like a super huge total value locked, $1 billion in total value locked between Binance Smart Chain and Polygon, if you look at their farms, there's two problems with their farms. The first problem is, I mean, the token's printing itself, and it's not doing anything different than in your other farms. So what's going to happen is people are going to farm the crap out of it and dump the crap out of the token, because there's no use case for the Wex Poly token at all, and even the other tokens. So there's that. Again, very few farms have escaped the farming it to death problem. And the other problem is they don't have a deposit fee at all for any of their pairs. So you might think that that's a good thing, because it's free money pretty much, and it is. If you want to get 37% APR, make a 0.1% daily, you can do that for free over here on Walt. But the problem with that is the team has nothing to kind of boost up their coin or hold up their coin or look forward to. You really just see this thing, like, I just see this thing as dying on the daily. I don't know if any announcements will really help it if it's being farmed this much and there's going to be no compensation to really hold it up. That's just my opinion. So I think that just be careful if you're in Walt. So I was in here for a few days. I put a lot in the Wex Poly pool, and I ended up pulling out earlier today because the momentum that I saw for it, I just don't foresee a good future with what I've done with my research. Could be wrong, but that's just what I'm thinking about Walt and Wex Poly. So that's my VFAT update for today. We've covered all the coins from PolySaw all the way down to PolyMeme version 2. We skipped a couple there because I think they're pretty much dev honeypots too. But if there's any new coins that come out here, maybe in the next like 5 coins that come out, I'll make another video updating you guys on those things and anything else that I find in the Polygon ecosystem. Really, the only 2 coins that are the 2 projects that I'm looking at that I think could be potentially profitable are Kogefarm. Maybe that's kind of a low chance of being potentially profitable, and PolyYeld, a little bit higher chance of being profitable, but of course they all come with their risk. Alright guys, that is everything today. I'll catch you in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.